What's up, guys? This is Chris here, and today we're here on another windy day in Iowa to give you the brand new FN57. Now, this is a gun a lot of people ask me to get, a lot of hype behind this gun, and it's one of the hottest guns on the market, and honestly, it looks pretty cool, so I picked it up for review. The FN57 is kind of an interesting little gun throughout firearm history, and it was quite the innovative gun a decade or so ago when it came out. We actually have one of the old ones here to kind of give you a visual comparison throughout the video. Basically, what it does is it uses the FN57 round, the 5.7x28 round, which is meant for the P90 or the FS P90, whatever you want to say, and it was meant essentially to penetrate body armor or be used for rear echelon troops to defend themselves in a similar manner that the M1 carbine was introduced in World War II. That round was then essentially a pistol round at its inception, kind of an intermediate, very small rifle round, and FN figured out how to put it in a handgun. Since then, we've had a lot of 5.7 handguns because it does work fairly well. It allows you to get a really lightweight gun. The new one's only 25 ounces with a 20 round magazine capacity of a fairly reputable round. Now, the 5.7 round does have a lot of mythology behind it. A lot of people believe it's very similar in power to 5.56. It absolutely is not. It's very similar to 9mm. Advantages and disadvantages: a lighter weight round, moving much quicker. And because it's lighter weight and slimmer, you get more rounds in the magazine, more rounds per weight ratio. However, you don't get as much kinetic energy because the round doesn't weigh as much. Also, limited ammunition availability. That being said, we have some of that awesome blue tip FN57 ammo to go with this guy today, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. One of the updates they did to this gun, besides making it look a little bit more modern, in my opinion, is that they've added a red dot mount, which is very nice. One of the biggest advantages I saw of that is that they have the actual plates in the box, which is pretty cool. So we will be running a red dot on this for the remainder of the review, but I wanted to run an iron sight today because the irons are adjustable and they do actually look pretty cool. They are 3-dot illuminescent sights, I believe, very similar to H&K. At least that's kind of what they look like. I didn't read the manual. And overall, I think the sight picture and the trigger feel really, really nice. The grip of the gun feels really nice as well, but it does have very wonky controls, which for some reason they didn't change from the standard 5.7. I think that's maybe because they're trying to get all the 5.7 guys that bought the previous gun to buy this one. But I think if you were going to try to interest a new crowd, you might want to get rid of the world's most ridiculous safety. As you can see over here, this is the safety. Why? Why? I thought that on the last one, and I think that on this one. What is that safety doing there? I wish they would have fixed that. That being said, all the other stuff about the previous FN that I didn't really like appears to be fixed. The gun itself has a 4.8-inch barrel, which I feel like is a pretty good overall barrel length. Get good velocity on that 5.7 round. And again, the overall weight of this full-size gun is only 25 ounces, which is the same weight as a Glock 19, giving you a lot of advantages, again, in the weight category. Also, the 5.7 is a very flat-shooting round and a very low recoil round, so you can get a lot of those rounds out very quickly. A very swarm of bees style mentality when it comes to the 5.7. The 5.7 round was originally introduced in the P90, which was fully automatic, so it would make sense that the high capacity would be a huge selling point for the particular round. So I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels. It actually feels really good, and the 5.7 always looked really cool, and I think this one actually looks cooler than the original. If you're a Counter-Strike fan, if you play Ghost Recon or anything like that, you'll know what this gun is. And I think they so far did a good job making it look sexy. And if you have a gun that's really niche to begin with and fairly expensive like this one is, sexy's kind of a priority. So let's go down and shoot it and see how it fares. Before we do that though, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. I bought this gun with the Patreon dollars, so thank you guys very much. If you want to support the channel, it's the best way to do that. There's a link in the description. Also, I would really appreciate it if you like, subscribe, and share the video, and put a comment down for the algorithm. It really helps out. I also want to mention a local shelter in Ames, Iowa. It's the YSS. That's in the description below as well. Please click that link and donate to those kids. That being said, let's go shoot this bitch. All right, so one of the things I want to mention is the thing I like about the 5.7 round is that you do get a lot of capacity. You do get some decent power for a really lightweight ratio. The problem with that is it's like $1.25 or $1.50 a trigger pull. So keep that in mind. It's kind of like shooting a rifle round out of a handgun, literally and figuratively. Is that hitting?
It is.
I can't hear.
It is hitting. All those were hits, I think.
Oh, okay. I gotta turn my ear pro
Maybe
on.
we both should turn our ear pro up.
Well, 5.7's so quiet I can't hear it unless I turn the electronic portion on. Is that hitting?
I think most of them hit. Are you shooting a popper though?
Well, I was trying to shoot that popper towards the end. I was trying to shoot that little one in front of the big target. Let me shoot the big target again. Yeah, that's hitting.
It is hitting.
Well, it's just so quiet I can't hear it.
It is so quiet. It's little baby pings.
No shit, no shit. That's fun. It's a fun gun to shoot. Right off the bat, wow. It's nice and controllable. Watch this. I always try to do a little mag dump. A lot of those were hits. See, that's the advantage to 5.7 is you can just pile them out like 22. It's like a 22 Magnum or very similar to that, at least in power and feel. Very cool gun so far. All right, so a couple things I don't like. One, this has a magazine disconnect. That's ridiculous, which means that if I don't have a magazine in the gun, I can't pull the trigger, which kind of eliminates dry fire, which kind of sucks, or at least it makes it a lot harder. But one of the things I absolutely do like is not only does this look cool, but it appears to shoot very well as well. We did the we did the Ruger LC carbine 5.7 just a little bit ago, and the reason why I didn't like it so much is because the 5.7 round in a rifle, in a PCC or like a little tight little PDW, it kind of makes sense. In a handgun, I think it makes sense. But as far as a rifle goes, if you're gonna have the same weight as a 5.56, why not do the 5.56? Problem is you can't put a 5.56 in a handgun. So for a handgun, 5.7 to me makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can't deny the effectiveness of essentially a dozen rounds on target at 50 yards in 10 seconds. Like, that's one of the things about the FN or the 5.7 handguns, like the Ruger 5.7 as well, which is obviously the main competitor to this, that I really enjoy. It's just so easy to shoot. I was just peppering that little C-zone target from here. But one thing I like about the FN as opposed to the Ruger, A, the FDE color looks super cool, and B, the ergonomics I feel are just a little bit better, and I think the trigger is just a little bit better as well. All right, so I'm checking to see if the old mags work in the new gun, and they appear to, although they for sure have a little bit of gap right there, and they look like they don't line up because the ergonomics of the grip are different, but it does seem like it holds in there. So let's drop the slide on it and see if it runs it or not. So the magazine disconnect wasn't engaged, so the gun didn't work. That is, to me, is a huge fail, because imagine if the Glock Gen 6 came out and it didn't use all the Gen 5 mags and Gen 4 and Gen 3. That kind of sucks, right? I want you to know that the unbelievable power of the FN 5.7 that explodes human targets upon impact, LOL, didn't knock off my plate off my Texas Star. Oh, it also won't release.
Well, this is all good information to know.
Don't use the old mags. It's kind of what we're learning. I kind of thought what better way to compare them than to dual wield them. What do you think? You think it's a good way?
Sure, try it out.
The new one. Old one. Not bad. See if we can shoot them at once. All right, so now we're just gonna run the barrel a little bit maybe and do some, maybe some mag changes or something. If I have enough ammo, I do. So we'll just play around with a little bit, get a little tactical. Seem to have had quite the problem there. Funny how things fuck up when you start going fast, right? Drop the slide too early. honestly, the gun in action, like messing with it with like the big polymer mags and everything, kind of feels like a squirt gun. Now we'll see how it runs kind of home defense distances. We got about 6 rounds left. So we'll just do 3, 3, or 2, 2, 2. We'll just do a 2, 2, 2 drill. So say when.
The old outlaw 2, 2, 2 drill.
I like that drill. It simulates worst case scenario, most likely, is a home invasion with 2 or more people. Giving them 2 each kind of lets them know what's up. You know what I mean?
Gotcha! Caught you off guard, motherfucker!
All right, so I found the round that we had an issue with on the ground, and since these are worth $70 a piece or something like that, I'm just kidding. We're gonna play around and maybe I'll try to be pew view. You ready? You think I can do it?
No.
I can't. All right, so first impressions of the FN 5.7, what is it, like MDR or something? Whatever the new one is, this is the new one, is pretty good. It looks good, so that's like the first thing, right? It has good sights, I like those a lot. It has a good trigger, I like that a lot. It kind of sometimes in a lot of ways feels a little cheap when you're playing around with it, to be honest with you. Just because the magazines kind of feel a little shoddy because they're all completely polymer and that feels kind of weird. The gun itself does have some strange ergonomics, but the grip is real thick, and I like that a lot. That's one of the things that attracts me to the gun, is that it has appropriate trigger reach for my big old hands. There's no way to fix that as well, so if you have smaller hands, you're probably not gonna like that. The grip is actually pretty aggressive, which I also really like. That being said, that's more for the market of guys like me, and a lot of times people don't like that, so you gotta look out for that. The trigger undercut, although you see that FN goes for a very stylish pistol here, where there's a lot of like hard edges. It's supposed to look new and innovative. You know, there's a lot of sharp edges everywhere. The interesting thing about that is that's a stark contrast to the original, which is very smooth. And that's honestly what you want for a high-speed pistol. You don't want snag points and edges and things like that to snag your hand on and fuck your shit up. So what they did here was, I think in a lot of ways, sort of sacrifice a little bit of the ergonomics for a better look. And to me, I didn't really notice because the FN 5.7 is not something I will use defensively or in competition. So for me, this is just a fun gun, and I think that is for most people as well. And it is very, very fun to shoot. I have to say I had a great time. It was just non-stop rapid fire because I love 5.7 pistols for just that. You can rapid fire them just as fast as you can in 22, and it's a lot of fun. The downside is that unlike a 22, it is seriously 125, 150 a round. So every time I shoot these guns, it's cha-ching, 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 and woo, it gets a little pricey every once in a while to bust one of these out, because what you have is not only a very expensive round like 6.5 Creedmoor or 308, but it's a very low recoil round that you can shoot in handgun, so you can shoot a whole bunch of them before you even know you did it, and all of a sudden now you have to take out a second mortgage to buy more ammo. But other than that, very cool. Again, I like the sights, I like the ergonomics, I like almost everything about it, aside from the safety, which is just hot garbage, but I will just ignore it completely because I don't require a safety on a pistol for the most part. I like them on 1911s and CZs because they're like a recoil control device, but on this is just disaster is a word that comes to mind. And then also the magazine disconnect is a holdover from like the fucking high powers or something. I don't know what you're doing over there, FN. Either way, other than those two things, the gun is absolutely excellent, I think. I mean, if you're looking for a 5.7, I would argue this is probably the best one on the market. The Ruger 5.7, however, gives you almost as much for less money, and that's something you're gonna have to consider if you're interested. There'll be a full review of this for sure. I'm gonna keep this. I had a really good time with this. That being said, it is $1,500 as opposed to the Ruger 5.7, which I think is somewhere around $1,000. And you're getting similar ballistics, similar trigger, similar barrel length, similar reliability without the dumbass safety, but you don't get the cool FDE color, and you don't get the FN name, which is reminiscent of the Scar and, you know, Counter-Strike and all the fun video games. So it's up to you which one you like. Personally, I have both. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Holy shit. Corn syrup, man. Please help out your local homeless shelters and remember to recycle. I'll check you later. This is where all your high fructose corn syrup comes from. It's harvest season in Iowa, so we got to take a break every time the parade of trucks and combines drive by. Then there's a big dust swirl as well.